What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today, we're here to talk about the New Year's Sugo-Fest, and this is probably the final video I'll make before the actual banner is live, which is crazy to think about. We're finally here, the final Sugo-Fest of 2022, guys, and this is a big one, right? So we're going to go through each part. Shout out to Sleepy, by the way, who created this infographic out of nothing. I mean, nobody asked for it, but hey, this is awesome. I mean, it's just using the in-game images to build it, so shout out to Sleepy. I'll leave a link to this tweet specifically down below in the description of the video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about each part of the Sugo-Fest and ultimately decide which part is the best. Okay, so first thing is first, we need to talk about part 1 of the Sugo-Fest, which is debuting literally tomorrow. It's debuting the 26th of December, 1900 PST time. We are going to be streaming it, by the way. We're going to be doing some polls if you guys want to go ahead and see it. Obviously, go check out the Twitch channel. I'll be making a video on the YouTube channel as well in terms of when I'm going to be live. So make sure to stay tuned. Go follow the Twitch channel. Stay notified so you know when we start live streaming. So in this part of the Sugo-Fest, it is interesting because every single legend is available. Now, when I say every single legend is available, it's like 99.9% of legends are. The only characters that are not available in terms of the legends are anniversary restricted characters, so K-Dad, the Dex Zora that came out a couple months ago, and also the waifus. Also, Goldie Roger, Super Sugo-Fest exclusive, is not available on the banner. The reason for that is because there actually is an additional banner that is going to be running alongside the New Year's Sugo-Fest where you can potentially pull Roger on that Sugo-Fest in his 6+ form. They did it last year when Odin came out. Odin was not pullable on any of the banners, and then they had his banner run alongside it for his 6+. Exact same thing here. So unfortunately, if you wanted to get Goldie Roger, you have to actually invest your gems on another banner. I really don't like the fact that they did that. Financially, I get it though, but let's talk about this part because this is pretty crazy. There's lots of stuff here. In part 1 of the Sugo-Fest, all the 3 brand new Super Sugos are going to be here, Nami, Robin, and the Kaido versus Yamato. And if you want to see, in terms of my opinion, which ones are the most valuable to get, make sure you go check out the video I uploaded yesterday. It'll give you guys a bit more insight going through their abilities. But in terms of the rate boosted characters, now I did mention that every single legend is available essentially, but there are ones that actually are rate boosted that have a much higher chance of appearing. And this is what we have here. So we've got a lot of good units here. I mean, the new Big Mom is available, Core and Law. Not a lot of people pulled during the Halloween Sugo-Fest, so he's going to be here. Also, Sengoku, a character that not a lot of people like, but he is available. Super Tandem Law and Kid are both amazing. And then you got Nami and Usopp, not very good. Robin and Jinbei, one of the best characters in the game for sure. Ulti and Page 1, they're okay. You got, funnily enough, the other versus unit, Whitebeard and versus Shanks. Super quick Kaido, who's actually still pretty good in Pirate Rumble. V2 Shirahoshi Mancherry, which is also very good. And then you got some other miscellaneous characters, like V2 Jinbei, Gear 4 Luffy. These two characters just got their level limit break. Ace, with his 6+ is very good. Mihawk and Perona getting level limit breaks for them, helping you clear Grand Voyage Local Sea Monster. You may want to look out for that. It's actually very, very good. Now, all the Super Sugo-Fests are going to be available on part 1, but they're not rate boosted. So what it means is you can pull them, but the rates to get these Super Sugo units is very low. So if you do end up pulling them on part 1, then congratulations, because their rate is incredibly low, but they are going to be there. Now, I believe it also mentioned that other, like, treasure map legends are going to be available. I don't know if that was actually confirmed or not. I might actually have to look in-game for that. And yes, I'm actually just reading it right now. It says, in this Sugo-Fest, Part 1 includes all Sugo-Fest exclusive characters from standard Sugo-Fests, Treasure Sugo-Fest only characters, and all Super Sugo-Fest only characters, except for Goldie Roger. So it does look like Treasure Map Legends are going to be pullable, which is just crazy, right? Because, I mean, there's a lot of good units in there that are Treasure Map Legends. So probably the new Jinbei will be pullable too, which is great. So, it also says for all parts that these rare recruits are also boosted, and you've got a pretty good array. Obviously, both the Zoro and the Sanji are very good, and you definitely want to get them. And then some past characters from other batches are also available, which is pretty good. Now, another thing that we do need to briefly talk about is the steps for Part 1, because the steps for Part 1 are a lot better than Parts 2, 3, and 4. Now, you've got a guaranteed rate boosted unit for all of these steps, so this step isn't that great, but then a guaranteed legend, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 13, 18, 25, and 28. So that's actually a lot of steps. It's a lot more than it's going to be on parts 2, 3, and 4. Then you got a rate boosted legend, 6, 10, and 15. Now, a rate boosted legend literally means any of these 3 and any of this batch. So on 6, 10, and 15, you're guaranteed to get one of these batch of characters, which is pretty wicked, actually. The 20th multi guarantees you a Super Sugo unit. The 23rd multi, you have a 50% chance for every single poster to be a wanted poster, to be a red wanted poster, which is nuts. And then the 30th multi guarantees you one of the new debuting Super Sugos. So the 30th multi guarantees you Nami, Robin, or Kaido versus Yamato. Part 1 looks really interesting, and I think with the way that this is structured, it's essentially kind of the same structure as the anniversary Sugo-Fest earlier on in the year, with Super Tandem Luffy, Super Tandem Kaido, Ace Yamato, etc. It's a very similar structure to that, and from what we found in that Sugo-Fest is that if you want to get just one of the new Super Sugo units, pulling Part 1 is not a terrible idea. I would probably advise, like, potentially pulling Part 1 until you get one of the new Super Sugo units, or getting a unit that you like, and then after that, going forward to the other banners to potentially, snipe one of the other characters you want to get on the other parts, because, I mean, ultimately, you're not getting any of these other characters guaranteed. Like, it is just a chance to get one of the 3 on the 30th. Like, if you pull Kaido and Yamato along the way, if you reach the 30th multi, you might just get another copy of them, which, of course, is not the end of the world, but I think it's more ideal if you get another version of, like, the other characters rather than getting a dupe of one of them, you know what I mean? So it might be a better idea to just keep pulling on Part 1 until you get one of the ones that you want to get, and then moving on to another part in the future when it becomes available. Before we have a look at the actual rate boosted characters for parts 2, 3, and 4, let's have a look at the actual steps here, because look at all of these steps here that are rate boosted or Sugo Rare characters. So this is really bad, and this is one of the big things that makes those parts not as desirable, is that it's not a fun pulling experience when you have so many of these steps that are essentially like wasted. You get a rate boosted character, so you basically get one of these rare recruits, and I mean, you could get a legend as well, which is, I guess, kind of cool, but it's still 15% chance to get a red poster on the last pull there of these steps. 2, 3, 13, and 16 is a guaranteed Sugo Rare. So you just have a look at the difference between this one and this one. So you get a lot of extra legends on part 1, but remember, every legend is pullable on part 1, so the actual chance to get one that you want might be diminished, right? Then you got a limited pool legend, 5, 8, 25, a super limited pool Sugo Rare character, 10 and the 20th. The 30th pull on each of the parts guarantees you one of the desired legends, Kaido, Yamato, Robin, and Nami. So knowing that, let's actually have a look at part 2 of the Sugo-Fest, which is going to be featuring the Kaido versus Yamato. Now, the other Super Sugo units that are on part 2, you got Uta, Luffy, Kid, and also Odin. Now remember, this does not have every legend available from part 2, 3, and 4. These are the only legends you can pull on part 2, right? So this makes it a little bit easier to pull like that one specific unit you want to get. Like, hypothetically, if you really wanted to get this Marco for EXP farming, then yes, you should definitely pull on this part, because he's going to be available and he's going to have a high chance to get compared to other parts of the Sugo-Fest. No brainer, right? But I think it's better to look at the top end, right? So you've got like Kaido versus Yamato, obviously amazing. Legend Uta. If you don't have Legend Uta, I think that you should definitely go for part 2. Because while Kaido and Yamato are amazing, Uta is going to be good in so much content, just due to the versatility in her captain, being able to super evolve to become a cerebral striker. You can have her be driven powerhouse, you can have her be cerebral and shooter with her new 6++ version that has just come out as well. There's so much versatility with this character. She has the special reverse and paralysis reduction in her captain, the very unique special that gives you multiple turns of an attack and an orb boosting effect. She's so good. Uta is amazing, and I think if you don't have her, you should definitely go for part 2. Super Tandem Luffy, like, this is another reason why I also kind of want to go for part 2. My Super Tandem Luffy isn't maxed yet, and I really want to get his Super Tandem maxed, because it makes, playing super bosses much easier having this character maxed out. Kid is obviously pretty solid, and then Odin with his 6+ is also kind of solid, but definitely these 3 characters are the one you should be, looking towards. You've obviously got Chopper, he's actually pretty good from Film Red. Ulti's fine, Who's Who, he's what he is. Marco. I mean, there's not really a lot of headliners here that I can really say are like god tier units. Ace versus Akainu is still very strong though. You gotta put some respect on their name. Kid with his super evolution obviously is very good, but he was just in the Pirate Rumble banner, so you know, if you've been playing for a few months, you'll have kids just by playing Pirate Rumble every single day. V1 Kaido is obviously pretty cool. Jack, again, EXP farming, but Marco's also here. Bullet's pretty cool. Shiki with his 6+, very underrated. And then a couple characters with level limit break. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, you should just look at the top end, and I mean, the fact that you have these 3 Super Sugo units here, this is the big draw, and honestly, it's not that bad. You got a couple of good units here for sure, but it's the Super Sugos you want to go after. But remember, you do have the limited and the super limited pools, which, when you look at this, I mean, the super limited pool, you have a pretty high chance of whiffing pretty bad. I mean, like, when you got this, you definitely don't want to pull Who's Who, right? You probably don't want to pull Odin. You probably don't want to get Ulti. You probably don't want Kid either, to be honest. I mean, these 4 are actually very good, though. You definitely want to pull these 4. So, I guess when you look at the super limited step, which I believe is the 10th step, if I remember correctly, yeah, the super limited pool starts on the 10th. So, maybe doing 10 multis on one of the other parts to get a super limited character might be the way to go, just depending on what you're missing on your account. Part 3 of the Super Sugo-Fest, we have Nico Robin alongside Film Red Shanks. Now, I think a lot of people still give Film Red Shanks a lot of crap when he really doesn't deserve it. Like, anytime there's a strength super boss, Shanks is going to be the best captain for that quest. Now, you can use like some really good synergy here between Shanks and Robin, so I do like the fact that they actually partnered these 2 characters up together. I think that is a fantastic idea, and they kind of did it here as well, because Uta partners are very good with Kaido, and also Yamato too, and then Luffy partners up with Yamato. You've got Kid, which actually partners up very well with both of them as well. I think they did a really good job with selecting the right characters to be boosting on the right paths. That's actually a very, very good thing. And then you look at part 3, like, yeah, these 2 characters work really well together. You've also got Law, who's also cerebral focused as well. You got Yamato and Kaido together, which is just an interesting pair. It would have made more sense if these were with Nami, to be honest, but either way, the fact that Super Tandem Kaido is also here is also very good. If you don't have him at level 5, you probably want to get him at level 5, but you know, that's more focused on, you know, doing super bosses and being high end in terms of damage. Like, it's not a requirement to have Kaido at level 5 Super Tandem, but if you do, it definitely makes a difference, and that's what makes this character, in my opinion, one of the top 3 best legends in the game, just because of that Super Tandem at level 5 is just absurd. It's so dumb. Shanks, when you max out his Super Tandem, also a very, very dumb effect. Just getting a 2.5 attack boost, stackable with everything, and you only have to attack with 2 characters. Like, come on, man, it's so good. And then Nico Robin partners up very well, also in Super Boss Kizuna's. But in terms of the other legends available, you've obviously got Ben Beckman and Lucky Roo as well, and they're also one of the greatest legends that has released in 2022. This character is so good. Hiyori, one of the best subs that has released in 2022. Who else is here? I mean, Boa's kind of good still. Magellan, not great. Bonnie's still pretty solid. This character, Vivi Rebecca, is actually like a character that I think people should be talking about a little bit more. The reason why I say that is because this character actually partners up incredibly well with the new Kaido and Yamato. Specifically with Kaido, right? Because this character is a striker unit, and they give a really bad attack and orb boost, but they have good utility. And the thing about it is, you can use their special and then use Kaido's special to remove your beneficial effects, get all of Kaido's buffs, and it's just great synergy with Viva Rebecca V2, right? Sugar is very outdated. She definitely needs a level limit break or a super evolution or something. Shanks crew, very good for, obviously, the Grand Voyage. What else do we have here? Pudding's okay, and then you got some other characters near the bottom here. I mean, like, Corazon's pretty good still. Chopper, but of course he's basically a free character because you get him through the Pirate Rumble that is currently active, so I don't know how I feel about that. But not the greatest pool of characters. We can have a look at like the limited pool and the super limited pool. So once again, if you go 10 multis deep, you get this, and this is an incredible list of characters, man. Like, I don't think you can really go wrong here. Because maxing out all these characters, I would say, is a priority. Like, I mean, this Hiyori has hunger. If you don't want to use hunger tablets, and you can definitely just go ahead and just get dupes for her, if you're able to do that. Beckman Lucky Roo has super tandem, super tandem, super tandem, final tap, final tap, final tap. Like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is a really good pool of characters that I think part 2, or part 3, should we say, is actually very good. You got a really good pool of characters here, but I think the fact that Nico Robin is probably the least desirable of the 3 New Year's Legends is probably why her part is the best. But saying that this character is the least desirable doesn't make her bad. She is very, very good, and she's going to be good in super boss scenarios. But outside of that, I don't see her used, like, probably not that much. The thing about Robin that is kind of good, though, is that she does get access to really good supports, which really helps her out. But to be honest, part 3 looks really good. And then to finish off this celebration, we've got part 4 of the Super Sugo-Fest. Now, with part 4, you've got Nami, who is probably the character that most people want to get the most. You got Film Red Snake Man, who is good, but he's a Luffy, hard to fit him on teams, and he's a little bit annoying to use because of all the specials that you have to launch, which can be annoying. Ace Yamato is obviously very nice to get. And then last year's New Year's characters, Luffy and the Straw Hats, as well as Roger and Whitebeard, both available on part 4. And it's kind of interesting because, you know, it's been a year since Roger Whitebeard's come out. Personally, I've only pulled 1 dupe of them, so I actually wouldn't mind getting more copies of the unit just to have the final tap max, just to get the rainbow border. I mean, this is all just like final tap. All these characters are final tap, and then you got Super Tandem Nami. And the thing is unless if you're Luffy and the Straw Hats, maxing out the final tap, and maybe K-Dad for the same example, like, those are the only 2 final taps that you should really be worried about, like, in terms of getting maxed out. There haven't been too many situations where you, like, specifically need this final tap to get through the content. I will say, like, you know, being on the devil's advocate of what I just said, Ace and Yamato actually maxing their final tap is really good for the Grand Voyage versus Kuro, I believe. Very, very good to have their final tap maxed out, getting increased damage there. But the rest of them, probably not so much. But Nami has Super Tandem, and her Super Tandem is very, very good. Partners up very well and synergizes with what she tries to do. So this is actually a very good pool of characters, especially if you do not have Luffy and the Straw Hats maxed out. Again, you may want to consider going in on part 4. In terms of the other legends, Usopp and Yasop are very good, also very good in Super Boss scenarios. Azor and Sanji, not so much. No, these characters, I mean, Frankie's really good. Odin's still kind of okay. Dog and Cat, both together, that's fantastic. Perona Straw Hats, interesting. Wano Law, got Snake Man, Sober Mask, Kuzan, but he was free earlier on in the year. Man, yeah, this pool of characters is really bad at the bottom. The top end's not bad, though, because you get, like, Usopp, Yasop, Frankie, Dog, Cat, Straw Hats, Odin, Wano Law to an extent if you don't have him yet. And then you got the super limited step. So you got all those Super Sugos, Usopp, Yasop, Sasaki, and Zoro Sanji. It's a pretty weak Super Sugo pool when you can just compare the other pools, I think. Like, Nami's obviously amazing. I don't think Film Red Snake Man is like a desirable unit because, you know, obviously he competes with other Luffys. Ace Yamato you want to get for sure. Luffy and the Straw Hats, you want them rainbowed ASAP. And then Roger Whitebeard, they're just nice to have for sure, but you don't need them rainbowed in order to get through content. But that's the breakdown of each of these parts and a little bit more nuance. So obviously, if you're looking to get one specific character from the pool, you want to go in on that part. Like, if you're so dead set on getting one character in particular, like if you only want to get Nami in this Sugo-Fest, you should just wait until part 4. That's the best opportunity you're gonna get to get her, and even if you don't get her along the way, she is at least guaranteed. But at the same time, part 1 is going to have actually pretty decent rates if it's the same structure as the anniversary Sugo-Fest earlier on in the year, and it should be because the structure is very similar in terms of the pull steps, in terms of what's going on, who's boosted and stuff. It looks to be exactly the same as the anniversary. So if you really don't care, if you just want to get a majority of these characters, part 1 is not a terrible idea until you get one of your characters that you want to get, and then focus elsewhere after the fact. But as I said, if there is one unit you want to get, like if you only care about getting Robin, wait until part 3. Or if you only care about getting Kaido versus Yamato, wait until part 2. Personally, because I want to get all of them, I am going to be doing pulls on part 1. As I said, I am going to be streaming on Twitch when this Sugo-Fest goes live, so it's going to be awesome. Make sure to come out to the stream. It's going to be wicked. We're going to be doing a bunch of pulls. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today, and I'm wishing you guys the best of luck in the New Year's Sugo-Fest, which is going to be coming out very, very shortly. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.